Hello and welcome to Green World Initiative. This is a brand new channel of mine on YouTube, and what I'll be doing here is basically be talking about green stuff. The easiest way to say it, whether it's gardening or ways to reduce your carbon footprint or anything such as that. And today I am going to show you, as the title says, how to never buy another rosemary plant. Actually, you can do this with several things. If you look behind me, you can see, either way, those are all cuttings I took from basil plants. And those will be eventually transplanted into netted pots. And it's basically just about taking a cutting from the actual plant and putting it in water, giving it time to root, and then transplanting it into another pot. Today's, I'm going to be doing this. This is a rosemary plant. It has got 3 stems at the moment. And the thing about rosemary, this is the same thing with the basil, now that's the first time I've done this, but I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, and it's just a matter of doing what they say, and it's not that much different than doing basil, which I definitely have a lot of experience doing. Here's the smallest one. And what we're going to do here is cut the plant. Scissors here. And that will, we can get to the thing here. From my understanding, at least on the rosemary, we'll promote it to create 2 new stalks. And so you'll begin to get a bushy plant. It'll begin to bush up. Right now, it's only got three branches. From here, if I'm doing it correctly, it'll cut and make another 2 here, and another 2 here, another 2 here, probably even more. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done rosemary before, so this is kind of an experiment, at least for me. However, like I said, I've done basil in the past. So the first thing is we're going to try to find, we can look at this. It's going to may be hard for you to see it, but see here, you've got some leaves growing in here, and this is where I want to cut back. I could cut back any lower, but this is where most of the multiple leaf growth is happening. So if I cut just above there, then that should promote these to do their own branching. At least that's from my understanding. So first, we're going to cut this. So this first part is just a pruning process. As you can see, I've taken this off. Now, in case of this, you can strip the leaves off, the lower leaves. I'm going to make an attempt, and I'm going to go ahead and strip off all the lower leaves here. Now, if you can see real close, it kind of gets a little thread in there, and that usually promotes the roots to grow a little bit better. Here, since we're getting so close to the top, and I don't want to have anything to worry about as far as root growing up there, because I've done it in the past. Some of my basil plants, you can look into the pots, and there'll be roots showing up at the surface because I got it so close that they started growing out of the thing, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just doesn't. It probably is not going to. It'll inhibit the growth a little bit. So you don't want to. All I wanted to do is this little bit part here, because I'll be bearing it up almost all the way to the top when it eventually gets planted. So here, and then one more time. 2 more times, right here. Now, of course, you can use these immediately in a dish. I don't happen anything to cook at the moment. I was going to take out some chicken, but I didn't. Anyway, there you go. This is the first one. Now this probably won't stay in the pot. Oh, yeah. You want to put it in a glass of water. In this case, I put some Miracle Grow, and this was like, I think it's 1 teaspoon to a gallon, and then filled this up. And it's actually not going to fall, but what I expect to see is where this is within a week or two. Sometimes it takes longer to see root growth, and then it can be put into a pot. And from there, you'll start a plant just like this was. Instead of doing it from seed, you just took a cutting. Okay, so the next ones, these are the ones that are more critical. I'm not so much concerned about that one working because it is so small, is that we'll cut back. Here again, we'll have where we seem to have a whole bunch of growth. This seems like a good spot. I can get this without cutting anything else. Okay. Now you can see this plant, this stem is a lot larger or a lot longer. And so I'm going to again do the same thing where I pull off the leaf and pull a little string along with it that will promote root growth. And I want to do that with the first few sets of leaves. All the way to perhaps this last set here. Maybe just one more set. Yeah, we go one more set. And from there, we're going to clip off again. Just clip off the leaves. Remember, you're not trying to tear them off this time because you don't want the root growth to get too far up. So this time we just clip it. Oh, there's nothing that I didn't do the other one. In order to promote even more root growth, what you do is take the end after you cut it off, or you can do it before as you cut it off, and cut it at a 45-degree angle. Let's see, and that'll be even better for promoting root growth. Okay, you're going to leave this. In this case, we're going to leave 4 sets of leaves instead of 2, or in this case, it's going to be 6. Well, no, it's going to be 4. Okay. So I'll cut those off, and then I'm going to cut these final off, and I'll leave 4 sets. So this would just well, actually, there's a little growth here, so it's actually 6 as well. That one fell right into the water. That was the problem with that little one. I think I'm going to put it in a smaller pot, smaller thing. In fact, let me do that right now. I have kind of a little shot glass that has basil in it, and I'll put this one in there with it. And we'll see how that works. Okay. It's very small, so I'm not too worried about that one. Okay, so we've pulled back the stems on up to here, and then we've clipped off the leaves. A little bit more here. This one will be able to fit in the pot without falling too far. All right. And then the last part. The last branch, which we'll look again to see where I can pull this. I'm trying to put them very close to even each. So when it branches, it'll continue growing outwards. but they'll be all on the same level, and so it'll end up being a lot more bushy that way. Seems like here's a good spot. So this time I'm going to remember and just cut it at the 45-degree angle, about 45 degrees. It's not exact. And lastly, we'll do it one more time. So this is the third time to demonstrate. Pull the lead back. Again, pull it back. Then take the next set. Pull that back. Pull that back. You can see real close. You can see the little bit of string coming off. Go to the next set. Pull those off. And the reason why I said, okay, on this one we did 6, this one is actually close to 8, because it's got also those small leaves, is just so you kind of you can gauge where it's going to be more successful. Like the one that said behind me that's only 4 or 6 rather, and it's a very small thing, probably not looking, probably not looking at it being that successful. The chances are not going to be as good as these that will have. This one I'm going to go up to 10. So we've already done that. I've cut enough that we can put that into the ground. Well, let me go one more. Okay. Now, never mind. I'm just going to snip this off. I don't need root growth that far down. And like I said, look at all this rosemary that you can cook with. And if you want to keep this fresh, you can wrap it in a paper towel and put it in your refrigerator in a plastic bag, and that'll keep it a little fresh for a little bit longer. Or if you get to where you have a good bush, you can just cut them and put them in water like this, and they, as they form roots, they're going to continue to grow somewhat. So from here, this is the last time, we will cut. Here we're again just snipping. We're not trying to get root growth in this area. So and I apologize. Yes, this is live, and I didn't set any comments for this. So hopefully sometime in the future I'm going to be able to set it up where I do go live, and it'll be a scheduled event. And if you have questions you want to ask, you'll be able to ask them then. Of course, you can leave something in the comments, and that's about it. I always suggest if you have a comment, a good one, obviously, or a question, just put it out there. Oops. And I will do my best to answer it. Oops. Well, these you have to be careful, because sometimes if you cut in the wrong place, you're gonna be in trouble. Okay, now we want to count. When I said 8, we're going to go to 10. There's 2 little ones right here. There's 4 here. That's 6. That's 8. That's 10. We'll make it 12. So this is the last one I'm going to cut. And we'll see. Well, we have 3 different cuttings. One last time, and again, let me see if I can get really close for you. You can see it. Might be able to see it. And that's just right there. And you can see where all the says. You can see here, there's no little bit of stem. You see here, a little bit of stem here and here. Because that's where we cut, and then you see here where there's no stem, because that's where we pulled off the whole leaf and the string along with it. There you go. You have 2. Now I've had this plant for a little while. It's not a very big plant. I bought it at the local nursery that we have here in town. We have more than one, but one of the nurseries we have in town, and I just let it sit there. It was in the starter pot, which is for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and it grew a little bit. Then I transplanted it to this pot, and today I decided, okay, I'll go ahead and try and see if we can get some to start bushing out and to make more branches, which is the attempt here. And I have these, which I said these two and the one behind me that I'm going to check in about a week or two. And if they're properly rooting, then they're going to go into their own little pots, hopefully a little bigger than this one. This one I think maybe was too small for the plant that I started with. And so I'll go into, this one's a 6-inch pot. I'm going to go to maybe an 8 or a 10-inch, and these will end up getting to what you saw in the beginning before I cut this one down. Now this should take maybe, I can't say, tell you the truth, I know it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for the basil to get to the point where I can start cutting off of it again. And I've been doing that for the last few months to try to get them to get bushier, and I'll maybe show one of the plants on another video. Speaking of other videos, you will see I did a video on another page or another channel, and I'm going to not export that, but I'll just go ahead and put it in my favorite videos, and you'll be able to see that, and they'll show some of the progress of the other plants that I did, the basil, and it'll show. I won't show this. I didn't. Well, come to think of it, maybe I did transplant that one. You'll be able to see transplanting. So, and I will be transplanting these and then making a video for that one too. At any rate, that is it for today. Please take the time to share and like the video if you enjoyed this. Also, give it a thumbs up. That's what I said, like a video. Give it a thumbs up. Same thing. Share it, as I just said, and subscribe. This is, like I said, this is a brand new channel, and this is one of the things I'll be doing on this channel. Like I said, I'll be doing gardening tips like this. I'll be doing talking about how you can conserve, whether it's water or electricity in your home. The other tips to become more green and more eco-friendly. And maybe it's a matter of talking about solar power, wind power, or solar energy, greenhouses, stuff like that. You know, things that generally that have green in them or involved with green things, green living. And that's partially the title, the Green World Initiative. I do have a channel, which I'll try to remember to put the links to that channel in Google+, which has, right now, it's a small membership, only about not quite 60 people, but we're working on this, and the video is part of the reason why I'm trying to get more exposure for it. And we'll see how that goes. But I've got a lot of tips, a lot of information on that site. Even though there's only 65 people, I usually post 2 or 3 articles a day, not mine own personally. Although I do want to do that as well sometime in the future. I do post articles from other green living and green type blogs, videos, and whatnot. So keep an eye on that. Subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the Green World Initiative, the community on Google+, and you can take advantage of that information as well. At that rate, at any rate, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on my next video, which hopefully will be soon. Bye.